Hi guys, just doing a little work on the fuel tanks for the Dodge DL700, and they're well put together. But like any other fuel tank, I've noticed when it comes to big rigs, you always have to deal with the seam, and we're gonna clean that up tonight. I'm probably gonna I'm gonna be working on this particular model in the evening, late in the evening. It's gonna be midnight here pretty soon, but I'm gonna film as much as I can the process as far as what I'm working on, and I'm just gonna be talking out loud. You guys want to join me and work on your projects? We'll see where we're going, or if you guys are working on a Dodge L700, that'd be great too. But number one with the seams, usually what I would like to do, I'm not gonna clean up all the seams on this model. What I am gonna do is I'm gonna clean up the seams on large items that are very visible pretty much almost instantly as you look at the model. And what this particular model, what that was, it was the fuel tanks. I'm not sure if I'm gonna paint them in any type of metallic cover. I'm sorry, color. I think I'm gonna go with a nice shiny black to keep with the theme as far as the whole theme, the whole purpose is the model, just to keep it as original as possible, I guess, as I can, but to highlight and only highlight the blue color of the cab and the round bug eyes and unique features of this very, very cute model. And if I put chrome tanks on there and chrome everything, this and that, I'm trying to step away from that. And from the chrome pieces that are on the model, I'm trying to tone those down. And the chrome pieces I am going to keep, I'm going to touch those up slightly, but those are going to be the bumper, the headlights, maybe the turn signals, and the chrome around the running lights up on top. Everything else will be kind of toned down. So I doubt I'm going to do metal fuel tanks on this girl. I'm going to be jumping a lot up and down to the camera and make sure I'm in focus, or I'm at least in the area. So if I put metal fuel tanks on her, what I am going to do is I'm going to put um, this metal plate on there, and if I put metallic shiny, let's do like this, fuel tanks, you're gonna my eye starts to wander away from the cab and starts to go out here to these areas, which would be neat in themselves to look at, but the whole purpose of this thing here is to keep it original and just keep the focus on the beauty of the paint and the color the modeler chose. So the tanks are probably going to be painted black, a nice glossy or semi-gloss black, but I definitely have to clean up those seams. Let's do a tight zoom in shot right here. Okay. I guess not too tight. There we go. So, normally what I like to do, well, pretty much what everybody does, is you'll sand the little ridges that line flat down as much as possible. And you clean it up with a more finer sanding stick, and you go in there with some sort of putty, put it in the gaps and stuff, let it dry, sand it again. When you make all that stuff disappears in terms of the seam, you can go ahead and start your painting process. A lot of modelers, I would always notice, would hit it with primer. You can see the defects or what you still haven't been able to eliminate, and they go back and sand that, do that process over and over again until they get it just right. I never used to do that, and I thought it was a little silly. This is the first time in my modeling that I've ever done it on the Diamond Rio. or I use the primer and keep going back over and over again until I get it just right. It might be overkill, but the results, I'm to the point where my models, yes, they're models and they're made out of plastic, but they're like mini works of art. And it sounds silly, but as I'm talking in the comments with a lot of these YouTube guys, they also refer to their models as works of art. Um, Now the good thing about working on big rig kits is the pieces are so massive, and at the end of the day, they're big rig kits. You know, you don't have to. It's almost like you don't have to be gentle, and you know, I can get away using a big file here, as opposed to working on a little tiny part. You know, and you got to use different sanding methods. So working on the big rig kits, especially in 1/25 and 1/24 scale, kind of it's almost like you can't hurt the model. Obviously you can, but let me turn on the music. I was talking earlier today to a guy who restores die-cast vehicles, little die-cast vehicles, and if I pronounce his name, uh, forgive me. And his name is, I think it's Lazy Low or Lazy Low, Lazi. I think he's Lazaro, so it's short for his first name, so it's probably Lazy Low. And he refers to his models. I was talking about colors, and what he told me was even before he starts restoring a die-cast vehicle, he already knows the colors. He sees the colors in his head. Let me check if I'm in focus. Yep, I am. And I'm the same way. Actually, before I even buy the model, as I look at the model on the shelf or online or on eBay, the colors start going through my head. It's almost like a slot machine in Vegas, and you see that dial spinning around. And if I can, my mind sees something where I know what I can do with this, I'll buy it. And if it doesn't, I won't buy the model. That's kind of dorky, but I've never done that before. And I used to model railroad stuff, model railroads. My railroads, my two main railroads, my number one is the Santa Fe and the second one is Southern Pacific, but they're both kind of tied in first. So there's only one way to pay a Santa Fe locomotive. There's only one way to paint a Southern Pacific caboose. So that's where I grew up. That's where I mastered my painting and my rebuilding and stuff, decal work, all that good stuff. But with the trucks, with the cars, it's different. You take it where you want to take it, and I'm really enjoying that part of the hobby. Um, I mean, the diamond reel is coming out great. If you guys can see that, let me see. Here we go. Diamond reel's coming out great only because I finally was able to, I guess, release the shackles of the confined how I had to paint something, how I could only paint something a certain way, because that's how it was on the railroad, or in German armor or a Sherman tank. You know, there were no pink Sherman tanks, but if I wanted to paint one that way, it'd be great for me. But everybody laugh at you. But I'm noticing in the vehicles you can, much like our real vehicles, uh, your mind just starts to, I guess, work where it had always been originally designed to work. We only discovered it at a later part of our life, but probably the best part of our life, because with that also, I never had patience to do this. And with this model right here, I have learned patience, and I refuse to go fast on this guy and or girl. But I finally it's interesting how that works. It's real interesting. The you know comment below. Let me know what you guys are working on. Let me know what you're working on. Post your own videos. You don't even have to talk on them or use dialogue. Point a minute or two on your phone or a minute on your phone and show what you're doing. And I'd love to see what you guys are coming up with. It's actually pretty cool, and we're all exactly the same. We're all exactly the same in this, and I love that. So how I got started in this, I mean, the name of my YouTube channel is actually the name of my company, my, my side business, which has always been building models, or reselling as a dealer, and models of all types, but mostly railroad model railroads, brass railroading stuff only. I don't do other stuff. Plenty of dealers that do that, but I specialize in brass O scale, which is a two rail uh, model as opposed to a Lionel or gauge. I noticed Lionel and Mike's Train House are calling themselves O scale because they run on two rail track now. If you buy them that way, but they're still not O scale. Scale is reference to it's exactly like the real thing, um, semi scale or whatever you want to call it. But that's how I got started, and how I actually got started is I buy beat up models, box cars and stuff. I like to buy old stuff like from the someone built in the 40s or 50s. That was my expertise. I had all the parts in case I had to rebuild them, and that was where I got my just just passion, just rebuilding beat up stuff that somebody threw away or was gonna throw away, and and I used to go to all these Great American Train shows all across the state. They always seem to always have one once a month somewhere nearby. Uh, I was kind of like Throttle Power with his model car shows. I have no idea where he lives. That there's a model car show somewhere always around him. That's awesome, and he films us, so I enjoy being there through his videos, as I'm sure a lot of you guys do. But I love what Throttle Power does, and he's actually been extremely decent with me, what a what what an ambassador to the hobby that guy is. But I don't know how he pulls it off. But I turn on YouTube, I look at his channel, and I'm like, yeah, there's another train show. How does he do a model show? How does he do it? But good for you, Throttle Power. Guy's awesome. And so one day, the state of California decided that even if you want to sell at a swap meet, even if you want to sell, make a yard sale, even if you want to go and sell toy trains or parts of toy trains at the Great American Train Show, you had to have either a business license or a resale license. From now on, otherwise you will be charged with blah 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 blah, all that good stuff that states do, in particular California, love to threaten the little people, while kind of like Marie Antoinette, they're over there eating cake. And so so yeah, I get audited. I go, what the hell is this? I get a letter in the mail that says you're being audited. Go to the office over here in Norwalk, California, the Franchise Tax Board. So I went, and I knew what was going on. I knew how they were going to hammer me because doing the type of work I do, I know how all that stuff is set up. It's just money generator. And so I went down there. Let me back off a little bit here. Let's go back this way. This way. Yeah, let's make the truck the star of the show. I went down there, and sure enough, before I left the house, I had an idea. I said, you know what? I had these old printers boxes where they used to keep all the letters and stuff for printing presses. I had a box like that, and they're all compartmentalized. I had a couple of them. They're old and they're kind of cool. They look like antiques and stuff. So I got a whole bunch of busted, about to go in the garbage can parts to box cars and the wheels and trucks and couplers and stuff, and I threw them in there. And they were the bad ones. I didn't put my nice ones in there. And I went down there with my little tray. I was real young. I was about 20, maybe 19, 20. And they called me back there. It's all intimidating, and I sit down at the lady's thing, and she sees what I have in my lap, and she tells me what's going on, and she goes, "Is that what you sell?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "What do you do?" And I told her, "Well, I don't really sell anything, ma'am. I get these old parts, and I like to sell them to people who are missing a wheel or something." I play dumb, and she was, "Well, okay, that looks old, okay." And she goes, "How much you sell that stuff for?" I go, if they want a wheel, maybe 25 cents, or if they're looking for a coupler or two, maybe you know 50 cents." And she goes, "Yo, oh man," and she goes, "That's just that's too bad. It's too bad they have to. You're so young and you're just having fun with your hobby. It's your hobby, right?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Okay." She goes, "Well, do you have a name for your business at least or anything like that?" I go, "No, it's not a business. I just do it for fun. I like to hang. I like trains." She goes, "Oh, you remind me of my son and stuff like that." So she goes, "Don't worry about it. You don't have to pay any taxes. You're not going to be penalized. But if you're going to go to the swap meets or anything like that, get your resale number or get your seller's permit or your deal, whatever, business license, so you don't get in trouble." I go, "Okay, I promise I'll never do it again, blah, blah, blah." Well, I get home, right? Yeah, of course I'm going to do it again, man. I'm still doing it to this day. And about 2 weeks later, I get a letter in the mail, and it's my business license. And on there they named my business for me. On there it said Florentino Rebuilding Company, and the address, what I can do, all the rules and stuff. I thought that was so cool, the name, and that she did that on her own. They picked the name for me, and so right there I learned a lesson. Are not all government people are jerks. I'm not, and there's a lot of cool people that work for our local governments, state and federal governments, and I thought it was just fun. So 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 um, to this day, my name of my company, my business cards, it's always been Florentino Rebuilding Company, and I rebuild models. I build models for people all over the world, whether armor, trains. I don't want to do this as a business. I really love this just for myself. This is awesome. But I just had a blast with model building, and I made a great. There was one point I made more money, maybe 3 times more money, and I get paid well. 3 times more money buying and selling trains, being a dealer, doing that in a year than I did at my normal job. And I was about to quit my job back in 2008, and the Great Recession hit. So I was this close to quitting my job. The money was just pouring in. It was awesome, and um, what an amazing fun journey. Just the beauty of these models and the people, lifetime friends that I wind up going to their funerals and burying, and or to my best friend Ed going up and saying his eulogy, and just lifetime friends. I mean, 30 years, 30 plus years friends, and just I think about my buddy Ed every day. Half the tools in my workshop are from Ed's estate, and from Ed himself. He knew he was not going to be around too much longer. He started giving me stuff, and when he passed his estate, his wife and his son called me over, and they say, "Hey man, Ed wanted you to have these," and I go, "I can't take them." They're like, "No, he really wanted you to have them. Take them." So you know, just what an amazing. I remodeled my whole house myself, the entire house, front to back, up and down, roof to the copper repipe, everything, and I didn't have to borrow one single penny from anybody. I had the cash from my modeling business. So just a little something I want to share with you. I'll do a quickie part 2 here. Let me end this now before the camera cuts off, and I'll be right back.